And hundreds of protesters take to downtown San Antonio tonight, a protest against ramped up ICE operations nationwide carried out under the orders of the Trump administration. Texas National Guard members sent by Governor Greg Abbott seen entering the Alamo before the protest. State troopers blocking every side, telling our reporters they are prepared should anyone try to enter or deface it. And your South Texas Ford dealer Sky 4 with an exclusive view over the crowds. Tonight's protest dubbed Take Back the Alamo, one of many being held across the nation. Protesters started off on a sidewalk outside City Hall, then spilled out into the street, people holding signs showing their discontent with ICE and President Trump. It all started 3 hours ago, and it continues going strong tonight.
News 4 San Antonio at 10. We're here for you.
And so far, the protest has been loud but peaceful. Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Mandy Noel. We've had our network of reporters covering this story all day and all night with live updates throughout the evening here on News 4. Our team coverage continues now with the latest on the protests, the police presence, and the push to keep things peaceful. We've got all the angles covered. Tonight's protest outside City Hall comes after several weeks of mass detentions and deportations carried out by the Trump administration. Some saying they voted for deportations of undocumented immigrants who have committed crimes, not of hardworking people who have lived and worked here peacefully for years. Just this morning, we saw a family of 4 detained outside of San Antonio's immigration court and placed on a bus. News 4 San Antonio's Destiny Fuller kicks off our team coverage now live from City Hall. Destiny, are you seeing any problems so far?
Mandy, no problems so far. The group has actually moved away from the City Hall area and more towards City Tower. At first, when we checked in with you guys, you couldn't see because there were dozens of people here, but SAPD had these intersections blocked off so that some of those demonstrators could make it peacefully, but now the intersections are opened up. Now, they were carrying signs, they were chanting, saying that they won't stop using their voices until there's justice for all immigrants. These protesters took their voices to the streets, taking several laps around the main plaza while calling for justice for every human in the United States. Many of them saying that there is strength in numbers.
Who stops to say, like, hey man, for real, we need to go together as a collective. We need to go together as a community, not just, this isn't just a Mexican thing, this isn't just a black thing, this isn't just a minority thing, it's a human thing.
Seeking a better life is not a crime. It's not the beginning.
I'm gonna say it when he's done.
We're gonna continue until they give up.
The groups have been here since before 7 o'clock and have been consistent since the first person showed up. They say today is not the end in their fight to protect undocumented immigrants. The protest's organizer spoke to the crowd earlier using a microphone. She said she shared that flyer 3 days ago and in that time received over 6,000 shares, which is why she attributes the crowd that we saw today and expects for it to get larger over the weekend as those protests continue. SAPD was on the sidelines keeping an eye on things. They did not have to step in as things remained peaceful here in downtown. Reporting live from in front of City Hall, I'm Destiny Fuller.
We've caught a glimpse of Texas National Guard members arriving in San Antonio tonight. Governor Greg Abbott ordered them here, but he's not sharing any details on how many will be here or how they'll be used. He did, however, say Texas is a law and order state and said the Guard members aren't the only ones being deployed.
That includes the deployment of Texas Department of Public Safety officers, as well as Texas National Guard, in strategic locations where they can provide the most robust response where needed.
Mayor Ron Nirenberg, SAPD Chief William McManus, and Bexar County Sheriff Javier Salazar all confirmed the governor did not disclose any details to them. The mayor urging protesters to remain peaceful while supporting their right to protest.
I empathize with the serious fatigue that this federal administration is causing within our community, but I will reinforce the chief's call to remain peaceful should you choose to demonstrate this weekend. The
Alamo closed early today out of an abundance of caution. Alamo officials cited safety and preservation of the historic site as its priority. News 4 San Antonio's Taylor Whartonby continues our team coverage live from the Alamo, where state troopers are standing guard over the Texas Shrine. Hey, Taylor.
Mandy, I'm here near the Alamo where Texas DPS troopers are surrounding the area. There are a dozen here stationed here tonight. Texas troopers tasked with protecting Alamo Plaza from protesters tonight. Our cameras also captured some Texas National Guard members entering the Alamo before the protest. Governor Abbott saying he would use DPS officers and the National Guard to keep order should the protests turn violent. Now, we are told there have been no incidents reported so far. I'm not sure if you can hear from my end, but there are some chantings going on behind me. But at this time, DPS troopers are telling me they're not going anywhere. They're going to be stationed here for as long as the protest is going on. Reporting live, I'm Taylor Whartonby. Back to you.
These protests started in Los Angeles. They've been happening there since last weekend. Melissa Vega is at the live desk with more on the latest from LA and other parts of the country. Melissa?
Well, Mandy, we're also learning tonight the Los Angeles Police Department has made nearly 400 arrests and detentions since Saturday in connection to the protest. Police say the majority of the arrests have been people failing to leave the area. There have been a handful of more serious charges for assaults against officers and vandalism. Right now, there's still a curfew in place for parts of downtown LA. That curfew just started. Tensions also rising in New York City. There have been a handful of tense moments between NYPD officers and demonstrators there. As of this evening, it's being reported more than 80 people have been detained, 34 of them arrested and charged, including with deadly conduct. Quickly, here's what things look like over in Raleigh, North Carolina this evening as hundreds of protesters there also gathering, voicing opposition to the current administration's immigration enforcement policies. So back in LA, the mayor of LA saying tonight that they would consider lifting the curfew if there are fewer arrests. So we're going to have to wait and see what happens as the night progresses over there. That is the latest from the Live Desk. Mandy?
Thanks, Melissa. And this is another look at the protest from your South Texas Ford dealer, Sky 4. We will continue to monitor the protest for you throughout the night, and if anything changes, we'll update it during the newscast. You can look for the latest updates at news4sa.com, and we'll also keep you posted on what's happening on our YouTube page. Just search News 4. Our morning team will also be in to let you know if anything new develops overnight on News 4 San Antonio today. Our other big
Breaking now at 11, anti-ICE protesters taking to the streets of Seattle once again, marching from Cal Anderson Park to the Federal Building downtown. Thanks for being with us at 11. I'm Steve Solis. This all comes just a day after a demonstration there ended with American flags being burned and 2 arrests. KOMO's Ryan Sims is live on scene tonight with what he's seen and hearing from protesters there. What's going on there?
Yeah, Steve, we seem to be in the dispersal phase of what was just an enormous gathering. I'm going to scoot out of the scene so you can take a live look at 2nd Avenue. Just in the last few moments, literally in the last 2 minutes, we saw traffic open in this stretch of 2nd Avenue. I would estimate that there are still around 200, 300 protesters and people milling out around downtown, around the ICE facility here. This is a drastic change from an hour ago when the streets were absolutely clogged with people and there was a lot of action. Talking about what we saw up until about 30 minutes ago, I'm going to have the control room bring up some of the footage that we got. This was at the height of the protest. It did turn quite dicey outside the Federal Building here, as you're seeing on your screen. At one point, the protesters dragged several items into the street to prevent police from reaching that gathering. If things took a turn, they dragged all those items into the street, and included in that was a dumpster that they then set on fire. And at the height of it, flames did reach about 10 to 12 feet high, and it took a while for that fire to be put out. And so that was one of the most dramatic scenes that we saw earlier. It is also our understanding that at the height of this, police were pelted with rocks and cement. So this obviously did take quite a violent turn for about an hour or two this evening. What kind of precipitated all this and preceded all of this was we also have footage of that if the control room can pull up that. It was a major march through downtown, all the way from Cal Anderson Park to the Federal Building. That march was peaceful, and I got to say that being a news reporter in this market for about 6 years, Steve, that this was by far the largest march and gathering through Seattle streets since since the days of George Floyd. So that gives you a perspective of how many people, where there are easily 1,000 people milling around from Cal Anderson Park all the way downtown. And to kind of underscore the point, it wasn't until they reached the federal building here that things took more of a violent, dicey turn. Coming back right now live again, we are again in the dispersal phase. Just from me talking right now, there are far fewer people in the street. It looks like the traffic is back open right now. So this seems like it is a situation after going on for about 6 hours now, 5 or 6 hours now. It seems to be wrapping up as the day comes to an end. But one thing that we're going to be keeping tabs on, as many people that came out today, it was about easily 1,000. That might not even compare to what we see on Saturday. Saturday is going to be the main event where easily thousands of people are going to go to that event on Saturday. And so if this is what we saw with streets blocked, potential of violence, you better believe that Seattle police are on high alert ahead of Saturday's march, which will also occur through downtown Seattle. So again, to kind of underscore the point, 2nd Avenue is back up. It looks like this has resolved itself after several hours here, but we're going to be keeping tabs on the overall situation. And if anything else flares up, we'll let you know. Steve, we'll send it back to you.
Okay, Ryan, thanks for being with us. We'll check back in with you in case things do change tonight. Across the nation tonight, several other protests broke out. Tensions flared outside the Spokane ICE office as protesters tried to block the deportation of a Venezuelan asylum seeker. According to our station in Spokane, the demonstration led by former city councilman Ben Stucker drew dozens and ended with multiple arrests. Protesters linked arms, chanted "Let them go," and blocked a transport bus, prompting a heavy police and SWAT response. The mayor has declared a state of emergency and has imposed a downtown curfew overnight. Meantime, in Los Angeles, nearly 2,800 service members are now deployed amid ongoing protests, including 700 Marines who have just completed crowd control and de-escalation training. They will join National Guard troops in protecting federal property under Task Force 51. A curfew remains in effect downtown through 6 a.m., and city leaders say it may continue for several nights. Tonight, we're hearing from several Washington leaders like Governor Bob Ferguson and Seattle Mayor Bruce Harrell about the protests in L.A. and right here across our state. They released a joint statement that reads, quote, "We condemn President Trump's illegal activation of California National Guard forces over the objections of California's governor. We understand the strong feelings that President Trump's actions are generating in our state. The right to protest is core to our nation. It is critical that Washingtonians do so peacefully. Violence will not be tolerated. Those who break the law can expect to be held accountable. At the same time, we expect that local law enforcement will manage all protests with professionalism and without interference from the federal government." That brings us to our Como Pulse poll. You can scan the code on your screen to participate. We're asking, how do you feel about anti-ICE demonstrations spreading to Seattle? This is a live look at the results coming in tonight. Right now, 66% of you disapprove, 24% say it's fine unless it's destructive or violent, 9% of you do approve, and 1% of you say you will wait and see. Again, if you want to weigh in, just scan the code on your screen. It'll take you directly to this story on KOMOnews.com.
KW News at 10. This is breaking news.
And that comes out of downtown Las Vegas, where hundreds of protesters have taken to the streets tonight, making their voices heard against immigration raids and the Trump administration's mass deportation plan. As you can see here, a lot of police activity. Metro now declaring these protests unlawful. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Marie Mortera. Jim Snyder anchoring live for us outside of the federal courthouse. Jim, what have you seen so far?
Well, we're now, Marie, at Carson and Las Vegas Boulevard, and the most stunning thing as we look down the street here and Ben zooms down, Las Vegas Boulevard is closed from Carson all the way down to Clark, so several blocks there. And the amazing thing is how quickly police cleared this out. The crowd grew and grew in size. It was tough to get an exact number because a big part of the crowd was marching around the streets. So police around 9 o'clock gave the order that it had become an unlawful demonstration and ordered everybody to leave. And the area right in front of the courthouse cleared out pretty quickly. I tried to make my way around the back of the courthouse on 6th Street and found a crowd running toward me and quickly found out why as I felt some mild effects of tear gas in the eyes and the throat. So the tear gas was used down on the south end to clear the crowd. And we do have reports from demonstrators who say they were hit with rubber bullets. I can't confirm that, but I can tell you our photographer Anthony, who who is on the south end, confirms he saw rubber bullets flying through the air and hitting objects that he believes. So before it all, sorry, the throat's still a little bit raspy here. Before police broke up the demonstration, I had a chance to walk through the crowd and talk with people about why they decided to come out tonight.
We're here speaking for everybody who we can't speak for, like we have to speak up for the right reasons, and if people are not doing it, then who will,
This crowd is huge. Are you surprised how many people came out tonight?
No, I'm not. I'm actually very happy and proud that everybody did come out, and I think if there's more protests, a lot more people will like to come out and join us too. And I just feel like everybody who's doing it will just like show people and make them come out more as well,
All right, thank you very much. How about you? Why are you down here tonight? Do you think this will make a difference?
I hope so. I really do hope so. I'm here speaking for the people that can. Viva la raza!
Are you surprised at the turnout? This is the biggest protest I've seen here in Las Vegas.
No, I'm not. I know we have a big community, so I'm very happy to see all these people out here.
Okay, thank you very much. Stay safe. All right, and as we continue on, you can see this goes just on and on. Some groups are breaking off and marching up and down the street. But let's go out to Las Vegas Boulevard now and show you that everybody is staying off of the street, on the curb, making it a peaceful protest. They're showing their signs to people who are driving by, getting a lot of honks from the crowd. You want to talk to us on Channel 3 for a second about why you're out here?
Okay, I'm out here to speak for those who can't and to support our people.
And this is a huge turnout tonight. Were you surprised by how many people showed up?
Yeah, I didn't expect it to get this big, but La Raza is huge. The family's huge.
And you think it'll make a difference?
I think it will.
All right.
I think us as a community, we can all help people open their eyes and become more open-minded to what's going on in the world.
Okay, thank you very much. So, yeah, you can see on this side of the street, we're right by the federal courthouse, and over on the other side of Las Vegas Boulevard and in the median, you've got more people over there. So this is a massive protest against the ICE raids, an offshoot of what is happening in LA, and it's just a huge turnout here in Las Vegas tonight. All right, and a new development while we were running that tape piece. There's been tear gas deployed to the north of us. You were up there, and you felt the effects up there.
Yes, they were tear gassing kids. They do not care. They threw it. We were peacefully. They still tear gas kids, little families, us, and we were not causing any harm. We were just going back to our car, and they trapped us in one place, and we cannot leave.
All right, we'll let you get out of the cloud right now, and I'll just tell you, Marie, we're going to move location because that tear gas from up the street is now wafting in this direction. So I know we're going to be checking back with you later in the newscast, but we'll find a safer spot to do that.
All right, Jim, please do that. Stay safe. We will be in touch. All right, so this is a situation in Las Vegas, downtown right now. Let's take you out to Seattle. We've been watching these images coming from the affiliates out of there. Now, it's hard to tell from this vantage point. Looks like this live camera is moving around, but also escalations and demonstrators here. Overhead pictures from what appeared to be a helicopter or a fixed cam showed a fire there on the streets of Seattle. So demonstrations also escalating at that point. We'll continue to cover these demonstrations unfolding here, not just in Las Vegas, but around the country. Now to LA, where is the sixth night of protests there. The National Guard deployed along with more than 700 Marines. Those protests began over the weekend after ICE agents reportedly raided businesses to carry out deportations of those they claim are undocumented immigrants. Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass calling for an end to those federal immigration raids. She was joined at a press conference by more than 30 leaders from around the region following days of protests. The White House describing the situation as shameful, slamming California leaders.
All of us represent cities in this region where immigrants are key, and if in some cases not the majority of the population. To have people live in fear like it is today is just unacceptable.
Mayor Bass and Governor Newsom fanned the flames and demonized our brave ICE officers.
The Trump administration says it will continue its mass deportation effort. Similar demonstrations popping up in other major cities as well, New York, Chicago, and Austin adding to that list. As anti-ICE demonstrations crisscross our nation, we looked at how and if these rallies can create change. A sociology professor at UNLV tells us protests do bring about change. Dr. Robert Futrell says once a movement forms, these demonstrations can spark a nationwide movement similar to what's playing out in real time now.
Our history has shown only when you have mass mobilization are you really going to have something close to the kind of change that's needed for ameliorating the problem that they're seeing with the immigration raids and the injustices that are connected to that, according to the protesters.
Overall, Dr. Futrell says when it comes to rallying, demonstrating, or protesting, the movements do.
Joining us, you are watching the National News Desk, America's News Now. I'm Jan Jeffcoat. It is Wednesday, July 11th, and right now a mandatory curfew in place in Los Angeles. Mark Boyle tracking all the new developments from the live desk for us right now. And Mark, that curfew clearly helping to restore some peace there.
It certainly did overnight. Things were much calmer now with this curfew in place, Jan. Mayor Karen Bass has declared a local emergency, says it's necessary to protect the lives and safeguard property. Portions of downtown L.A. still in that curfew for 30 more minutes. It started at 8 o'clock last night. It ends at 9 a.m. Eastern. Show you Mayor Bass posting this photo. This is where the curfew is in the green shaded area. It's just downtown L.A. There have been several different pop-up protests, but nothing so violent where we've seen the past couple of hours. I want to show you some of the exceptions. Those who live in the designated areas, homeless, credentialed media, as well as emergency personnel, of course, just to give you some idea. And in terms of the numbers this morning, the riots look like this. Total arrests, 378 so far. Total arrested yesterday, 223 businesses have been looted. And the Governor Newsom, he's criticizing the White House's response to this.
Thanks to our law enforcement officers and the majority of Angelenos who protested peacefully, the situation was winding down and was concentrated in just a few square blocks downtown. But that's not what Donald Trump wanted. He again chose escalation. He chose more force. He chose theatrics over public safety.
Members of the Trump team reacting this morning, including Deputy Chief of Staff Stephen Miller, saying the entire Democrat Party is committed to the singular proposition of migrant flooding every city in the USA. And a live look right now over LAX, not too far from here, is where those protests have been going on in downtown. Not far away either. 700 Marines on standby. We'll let you know how things unfold this morning right here at the live desk, Jen.
All right, Mark, thank you. And now border czar Tom Homan says the riots in L.A. are beginning to complicate other ICE operations across the country.
I want to make sure I understood you there. They are making these ICE raids more difficult to demonstrators?
No, they're making them more dangerous. I want to make it clear. We've been running the ICE operation in Los Angeles every single day during this protest, and we're arresting a lot of bad people in that city, and we're going to continue to do it. They're not going to stop us. They're not going to slow us down.
4 illegal aliens detained by ICE agents in L.A. on Friday have already been deported to Mexico. Dozens more have been arrested with violent criminal records that include robbery, sexual assault, and drug possession. Senator Tom Cotton has introduced a pair of bills that would impose stricter penalties for activists who target and assault federal agents. The first bill would increase sentencing requirements from 5 to 10 years for any demonstrator who assaults a federal law enforcement officer during a riot. The other calls on the federal government to automatically revoke visas and deport any foreign national convicted of a crime during a protest. Cotton released a statement arguing that, quote, rioters of any immigration status who assault ICE officers and engage in acts of violence should face stiff consequences. He wrote, my bills make clear that Americans will not tolerate lawless rioting in support of illegal immigration.